Hello and welcome back to our news update. I'm Stalia Strzemska. Today is a very special day in Poland as it marks 82 years since the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising of 1943. It was the largest and most heroic act of armed resistance taken up by the Jews during World War II. So let's begin with commemorations that are being held in Warsaw to mark this occasion. The commemorations will honor the small force of poorly armed Jewish fighters that held off thousands of Nazi troops deployed to send the ghetto's residents to death camps during World War II. Many of today's participants will wear paper daffodils pinned to their clothes. The yellow flower became a symbol of the uprising after its last surviving leader, Marek Edelman, regularly laid daffodil bouquets at the monument to the ghetto heroes in Warsaw. Marta Kubica, CEO of the Warsaw office of the European Leadership Network, explained the significance of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising in an interview for TVP World.
The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising started on April 19th. It was the Passover Eve.
Right.
It was also the day before Hitler's birthday. That was supposed to be a surprise gift for Hitler and the Nazis. The uprising basically lasted for 29 days. It was a heroic act of people who didn't want to die without a fight. And we have to remember their heroic acts. And
so this was actually people saying, I'm taking control of my life.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to have it taken from me without putting up...
I'm not going to die in Auschwitz. I'm not going to be shot by the Nazis on the street.
And now on a different topic, the U.S. administration has issued an ultimatum to Russia and Ukraine, saying that if both sides do not show more goodwill in the near future, the United States will withdraw from its role as a peace negotiator.
The time to end the war in Ukraine is now. That's according to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who added that Washington will stop trying to broker a peace deal within days unless there are clear signs that an agreement can be reached.
We're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about in a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then we have other priorities to focus on as well.
He also emphasized that Ukraine's ability to defend itself would have to be a part of any agreement.
In order for there to be peace, we recognize that Ukraine has to feel like it has the ability to defend itself from a future attack from anyone. Every country in the world has that right. But so I think everyone recognizes that Ukraine's ability to defend itself is going to be a part, it's its right as a country, and will be a part of any agreement.
Some believe that American patience is simply running out after weeks of US-backed efforts to end the conflict.
Americans are trying to be the best possible mediators, trying to push this kind of ceasefire deal, but still there is no yet tangible result. There is no tangible result yet. So the American patience is running out. They have other also priorities.
The US Vice President, meanwhile, presented a less grim outlook on the peace process.
I won't prejudge them, but we do feel optimistic that we can hopefully bring this war, this very brutal war, to a close.
Comments from US officials come a day after French President Emmanuel Macron hosted Rubio and Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff for talks where European and Ukrainian officials pleaded Kyiv's case. The talks are expected to resume in London next week.
The US is trying to show that there is progress on the negotiations, so this is favorable to them also. And we can see that there might be a momentum. Another discussion will be held in London, and we will see if there is concrete things going out of these discussions or not.
Washington and Kyiv, meanwhile, signed a memorandum on the minerals deal. The memorandum means that the actual deal can be signed next week.
Our intentions are positive, we are constructive, and we are showing this. Honestly, I think this memorandum is an important first step.
Should the minerals deal be signed, it could add new momentum to the peace process.
The elements that are under question with respect to Ukraine are currently located in areas that are Russia controlled. right? And so gaining or regaining access to those deposits, not only for the US, for Ukraine and Western allies, that is something that has larger geopolitical significance.
With the US hinting at stepping back from its role, the path to peace remains uncertain, with the next days crucial for Kiev.
If a void is created by the US withdrawing from brokering the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, it could potentially be filled by the EU, as the Union is getting more involved in the process. This stance comes from Daniela Schwarze in an interview for TVP World.
In my view, the situation between Kiev and Washington is now better than it was even a few weeks ago, and Europeans are now getting more involved. There was a meeting in Paris, there will be one in London next week. So I think that signaling is basically to all sides, and it may actually prepare the way for Donald Trump to no longer be so much involved in this deal. We know of him that he wants quick success. He has raised other issues in foreign policy that seem to matter to him now. Iran is one of them. And so it can well be that actually Foreign Secretary Rubio is preparing some kind of disengagement of the United States. But the good news is that Europeans are now getting more and more involved.
And just to reiterate, for those of you who are just joining us, Donald Trump said that the US may withdraw from brokering a Russian-Ukrainian peace deal if the current situation does not improve. But on the other hand, the US president also said that, quote, there is a good chance of getting it done.
For some reason, one of the two parties makes it very difficult. We're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. No, Marco is right in saying it. We want to see it end. We are going to see if we can get it done. I think we have a really good chance of getting it done, and it's coming to a head right now.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has held a call with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte to present Washington's peace plan for Ukraine. According to the State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce, the phone call echoed discussions held with European and Ukrainian officials in Paris on Thursday. The US plan for peace was also relayed to Russian officials by phone. Rubio stressed that if there is no breakthrough in talks between the US, Russia and Ukraine, the United States will step back from efforts to broker peace. Meanwhile, the Kremlin is offering young people in Estonia free trips in the hope of later using them to influence politics in their home country. This warning is coming from the report published by the Estonian Internal Security Services. The report also said that Russian channels were offering kids free online and in-person programs, competitions, excursions and Olympiads designed to lure in young participants under the guise of legitimate opportunities. The Estonian Internal Security Service said, quote, youth recruitment remains a priority of the Kremlin strategy of division. It also said universities were hotbeds for intelligence gathering by undercover officers. Hundreds of prominent Russian figures have been granted Serbian citizenship since the beginning of Moscow's invasion of Ukraine, a journalistic investigation has revealed. This puts further strain on already tense relations between Belgrade and Brussels, as Serbia continues to declare its European ambitions.
It is in our national interest, claim Serbian officials as they hand out passports to Russian nationals. According to the file uncovered by independent Russian outlet iStories and Serbia's Kirk, at least 204 Russian nationals have been granted Serbian citizenship since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This includes individuals with close ties going all the way to Russian President Vladimir Putin or to the Chechen leader Razvan Kadyrov.
In hundreds of decisions on granting Serbian citizenship for services rendered from 2022 to April 2025, the names of dozens of Russians closely connected to the military-industrial complex, the Kremlin, oligarchs, state corporations, and even special services are listed. None of them appear on sanctions lists and, therefore, can freely travel with a Serbian passport.
Serbia's citizenship laws allow for accelerated naturalization for people who are considered to have special merits. The issue of lax passport rules in Serbia has been a point of contention between Belgrade and Brussels for quite some time.
These are, of course, people that will not benefit Serbian citizens, but they might benefit the government because these seem to be people who are profiteering from the war, that are close to security organizations in Russia, or possibly oligarchs.
According to the Financial Times, the European Commission has previously warned Serbia that it might suspend visa-free travel for Serbian nationals if the country continues relaxing passport rules for Russians. The issue also comes at a time when student-led demonstrations have entered their 6th consecutive month, fueling domestic instability.
The protests have been broadened to full extent, as now they are actually people's protests. They were started by students of universities, all universities in Serbia, from 4 different cities. And definitely the demands that were set on the beginning have not been met.
With protesters demanding government accountability,
we're trying to achieve higher pressure on our institutions so they will start doing their job as they should.
Over the Novi Sad tragedy, wildly blamed on government corruption.
On 1st of November 2024, a canopy of one of the largest railway stations that is placed in Novi Sad has collapsed, killing at that time 15 people.
And with the political pressure on the Serbian government unlikely to dissipate anytime soon, President Aleksandar Vučić seeks to turn to his tentative allies. For TVP World, Zuzanna Jurek.
Polish Minister of Interior Tomasz Siemoniak visited the Polish-Belarusian border on Saturday for an Easter meeting with border guard officers. During the meeting, he said that the Polish border, despite continued hybrid attacks, is safe. He added, though, that this efficiency caused migrants to be transferred to other borders.
There are currently no indications that hybrid aggression by Belarus, supported by Russia, will cease, so we will continue to take further steps. We are now concerned that because of the efficient protection of our border, we are dealing with a situation in which migrants are being transferred to other borders, such as Latvia and Lithuania. Therefore, we are also taking further steps on the Polish-Lithuanian border to counteract such situations.
And now moving to Italy. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi arrived in Rome early on Saturday for talks with the United States on limiting Tehran's nuclear program. The Iranian diplomat will hold indirect negotiations via mediators with President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff. Saturday's meetings come a week after a first round of talks in Oman. Speaking in Moscow on Friday, the Iranian foreign minister said he had serious doubts about America's intentions ahead of the talks, but expressed his readiness to continue the diplomatic process. Since returning to the White House, Donald Trump has extended high-pressure campaign to curb Tehran's nuclear aims and has threatened military action if negotiations fail. Thousands of Catholics gathered at Rome's Colosseum on Good Friday to attend the Way of the Cross. The ceremony was not attended by Pope Francis due to the pontiff's recovery from double pneumonia. Pope Francis, however, personally wrote the meditations for this year's ceremony. Traditionally, during the Way of the Cross procession held in the Colosseum, a wooden cross is relayed to bearers who carry it through 14 stations. The tradition commemorates the crucifixion of Jesus at Calvary. It is observed in the Holy Week and leads to Good Sunday, the most important Christian holiday that celebrates Christ's resurrection. And that's a wrap for this news update. Thank you for watching and please stay tuned for more.